factoring. We are just going to add in an extra step today, and that's number 2, which was to make sure your function is in factored form. So all the steps from last time are just listed at the top. And we're going to follow these steps to help us solve our first example problem. All right. So, step 1 says, set your function equal to 0. So, in the bottom left, instead of f of x, I'm going to rewrite it as 0 equals x squared minus 5x minus 24. Step 2 says, make sure your function is in factored form. In this case, our function is not in factored form. So we need to factor. That's why we practiced factoring this week. I'm going to draw my area model. X squared goes in the first box, and negative 24 goes in the last box. I'm going to draw the diamond puzzle. We need to multiply to negative 24, and we need to add to negative 5x. Because we multiply to negative 24, one of our factors will be positive, and one of them is going to be negative. So I'm going to list the factors of 24. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 6 times 4. Looking at that list, we need to use 3 and 8. And we're going to have positive 3x and negative 8x because our negative needs to be bigger to add to negative 5x. So at the bottom, I'm just going to write 3x plus negative 8x equals negative 5x. Check. So one box will be 3x, and the other box will be negative 8x. X times x is x squared. X times positive 3 is 3x. And x times negative 8 is negative 8x. So our factored form for our equation is x plus 3 times x minus 8. You might find that you can start doing this in your head. Just make sure that you check your work, but that's totally fine. If you don't need to draw the area model every time, no worries. Don't use it anymore. That's okay. So for step 2, we've rewritten our equation as x plus 3 times x minus 8. All right. Step 3 says, separate into two equations. So I'm going to do two equations. I'm going to say x plus 3 equals 0. And then I'm going to set another equation that says x minus 8 equals 0. Number 4 says solve for your zeros, which also means solve for x. So back down in the left corner, I'm going to draw my solving lines. For the left equation, the opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. Positive 3 minus 3 is 0, so we have x equals 0 minus 3 is negative 3. And for the other one, x minus 8, the opposite of minus 8 is plus 8. Negative 8 plus 8 cancels. X equals 0 plus 8, which is 8. So our zeros are negative 3 comma 0 and 8 comma 0. You can always check your answers by looking on Desmos. Let's do one more example. So we're going to look at this problem too on the right side. This equation has already been set equal to 0, so that step is done. And our equation is already in factored form. So we're good there too. We don't need to factor because it's already in two sets of parentheses. So we're just going to separate it into two equations. 3n minus 2 equals 0 and 4n plus 1 equals 0. Then we're going to solve. In this case, we're solving for n. 3n minus 2. 3 times a number minus 2. The last thing in that statement is minus 2, so that's the first thing we need to undo. The opposite of subtracting 2 is plus 2 on both sides. Negative 2 plus 2 cancels, and we're left with 3n equals 0 plus 2, which is 2. The opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1n. And we can just leave this as a fraction, 2/3. So for this example, our root is at 2/3, comma 0. For the other one, again, the first thing we need to get rid of is the plus 1. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. Positive 1 minus 1 cancels, and we're left with 4n equals 0 minus 1, which is negative 1. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4, so I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Four divided by 4 is 1n, or just n. Negative 1 divided by 4 is negative 1/4. So our other root is negative 1/4, comma, 0. All right. You guys are going to try 6 problems on your own. You can choose any 6 problems. I will say that these problems, 7 through 10, are probably the hardest problems, but I gave you some hints. And then problems 1 through 6 are still going to be challenging, but we will put up a solution guide or something to help you guys on Schoology. Or you can always email me or one of your other teachers. Okay? Hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.